because we're live on everything else. I'm not live. Good morning. Tracking the Market Tuesday.
Good morning. Welcome back.
We have lots of good information today.
In a different setting.
And we're always in some weird setting. Where in the world are these ladies going? But we find so much value in this that I think it's really important to really take just a few minutes and talk about it. And so let's go forward. So Carolina, what's going on this week?
Yes, so inventory is actually at its highest since December 2019. And although it is high, its mortgage rates and home prices are basically like bringing down the buyer activity. So It's always a seesaw, right? You can't have both the best worlds, but we are, we just have to get creative and see how we can help our clients the best that we can. And although inventory is still below the pre-pandemic levels, we're seeing that it is concentrated, especially here in Florida.
Yeah, well, and I think, we read that there's 233 cities too that the entry-level house is $1 million, and 11 of those cities are in Florida. So that's crazy. I mean, yes, we have down in the Keys, so I'm sure most of those cities are down in that area, but I can't even imagine $1 million for a starter home. But the thing is we have seen, like we've said before, where we're getting seller concessions, things like that, that are really benefiting borrowers to get into houses where we can permanently buy down that rate. I think it's really important to give buyers options. We have those options coming back to Hometown Heroes. We have Florida Bond Program just to help them get into houses, because rent at the end of the day is never a stagnant thing. So
right. And what is it? As cliche as it is, it's true, right? Rent's 100%.
Yeah, no, I think
like you're paying 100% interest on rent. So don't get afraid, or don't get discouraged because of the current market where we are seeing, I'm not seeing the rates moving, really. They've been kind of stagnant for a while.
Well, and we're not going to see the Fed drop rates now that China and the U.S. have kind of come to somewhat of an agreement. We don't know the details of it, but that actually is going to deter the Fed from lowering rates. And, we've seen some weird things, but like I've said, I think this is our new normal, so we have to adjust to it. And again, they're not 12, 15%, we're talking 6s and 7s dependent. And really overall, it's not horrific. I know it's really hard whenever we had 2s, 3s, 4s, but that's kind of what got us into this mess to start with higher prices and so forth, because it caused such a supply and demand differential there. So I think that's important. So
right. And I think, I think a couple of weeks ago we were saying that we were expecting the rates to, after the Fed meeting in May, they're going to cut them. And then as we got closer to that Fed meeting, the information started changing, right? It was, wait, we're not going to see it change. So yes, depending on what you read, you're probably going to see that we are expecting a rate cut in June, but from now to then a lot can happen. I mean, we just saw it yesterday, right, where the tariffs dropped back down. I think it's like China gave us a 10% tariff here for the States. So it's every day it changes.
And something that we always talk about too is that we always talk about the market and how job markets come out and stuff like that. And that's why you can't really pay attention, because the market reacts to initial data, not the final revision. So for example, the initial data came out, but then they revised it and said, it was 58,000 less. Well, 58,000, yes, I know we have a lot of people in this world, but that's a lot. That's a big number, but no one reacts to that because it's not headline news. It's kind of like that background stuff. And so the data is never accurate when it first comes out, but unfortunately the market reacts to it. So we just have to watch that.
Yeah.
And also I saw that 20% of realtors are doing 65% of the business in the US.
What was that, 20%?
20% of realtors are doing 65% of the business.
Wow.
That's crazy. So if you feel like your business is getting a little bit slow, I always say go back to the old
basics.
Ways, the basics. Like just hit the ground running in the basics. Tell people what you do, sell yourself, build relationships, have knowledge. I think that's really important.
Your sphere of influence, I think is very important for you to really nurture and get in front of. And find your communities, right? Whether it be your kids'
Yeah.
sports, your church, I mean, your dentist office, all that is very important for you to stay in front of, especially in a market like this.
Yeah, and I think we will see some prices coming down as we have been. There is some, a lot of appraisers are saying declining market, but that shouldn't be a scary thing. I think we do need to see some stabilization. Guys, this is not going to be a housing recession.
Right.
Like, we're not going to see that. We might see some minor declines, but we're not going to see some pitfalls. But do you know, like I said, what happens in recessions? Rates do come down, so they will come down, but we're just not going to see these big plummets like we saw before. So I think that's important to note.
And then since we are in Florida, I do want to make just mention that even though the prices are falling in some markets, most like robust, like big cities are not seeing, are still showing rising prices, except Tampa. And at first I was like, well, why Tampa? And it's because of all the hurricanes, right?
And condos.
And condos. Yeah, condos in Florida is just...
Clearwater, I know we beat a dead horse on the condos, right? So let's talk about this for a second. I know it's not necessarily market, but it is why there's so many issues. You have a team of volunteers, right? Creating an HOA board, and they don't know the guidelines for lending. Like, so I had one the other day, they have no water coverage on their insurance and they absolutely refuse to add it. Well, guess what? You've just made it a paperweight and non-sellable. So guess what? It's going to sit on the market, because who's paying cash for these right now? Because they don't want to be in these situations. So I think it's important. And talk about raising prices. My hometown of Toledo, Ohio, 14% increase in prices. So people are seeing increases, but just be confident in what you're telling your buyers. Don't stay in your lane. Like, you guys talk about prices, so forth. Let us talk about rates. Let us talk about payments. Let me run those things. Let Carolina run those things. I think it's really important just to build a team together rather than trying to do it all.
Absolutely. No, and I think I feel blessed because a lot of the agents that I work with are very big on that. You know, let me stay in my lane, and they direct the clients over to me for anything rate related and scenarios. So definitely partner with people that are willing to work as a team.
Yeah, and this week we're actually headed to one of our largest lenders to get some more valuable information for you guys. And so I think that's really important to have a partner that's always learning and growing so that we can provide more for you. So if you need anything, please message us. We would love to answer your questions. I know we ask that every week, but please send us over your questions so that we can help you. Okay?
Yes. Talk to you guys next week.
Thank you.